Hello guys, Ashley here, also known as HJ Fan, back here with another video about my thoughts on PG era, and today we're doing years 2017, 18, and 2019. Ooh, the dreadful years. I did go a little bit into 2017 in my last video. I don't remember where I left off at, so I'll talk about Raw and SmackDown, my thoughts on each brand around that time. I'll talk about Raw first. I think Raw in 2017 was a way better show. I still think the 3 hours were dreadful. Um, Me personally, I just feel like the 3 hours was just a bad idea in general because the roster, it wasn't the best, but it also wasn't the worst, if I could put it in those terms. When you don't have a division strong like a tag team division, or when the main event scene is being, kind of like stagnant. Like, Brock Lesnar was barely on TV, which he's a part-timer, so I'm not going to even, you know, be too hardcore about that. But, I could also understand why people were frustrated. I mean, I was frustrated too. It's just like, if you're going to have a champion, I feel like the champion should be here. But there are a lot of people don't like seeing the champions every single day. There are people who are Cody Rhodes fans who are now saying his title reign is boring. And I wonder if that's because they see him too much. And it's just like, honestly, personally, the reason why I personally think his title reign is crap is because, me personally, I feel like they had no plans for it. I feel like they had no plans outside of that moment. They didn't really have no real challenges for him to face. I feel like Cody Rhodes hasn't done anything with the title. And a lot of that is with that booking. I feel like he's kind of just like playing second fiddle a lot. Like, it doesn't feel like he's important as a champion. So, in my opinion. But, back to 2017. I definitely think Raw was better. I love the stuff with Roman and Braun Strowman. It was really good. I did like the stuff with Roman Reigns and Undertaker. I love the stuff with Roman Reigns and John Cena. As much as Roman Reigns, his booking was very frustrating. I did like his feuds. He made Braun Strowman a star in that feud, and after that, Braun Strowman kind of really didn't do anything else really important. Um, Alexa Bliss carried the Raw Women's division on her back. She was the most entertaining thing about the Raw Women's division. And now, my girl Alexa Bliss has been nerfed. Alexa Bliss is not the same person that she was years ago. She has not been the same person. It's really hard to see her like this. It's really, really hard. It's really like crazy. And I think I think it's because Triple H is probably not a fan of Alexa Bliss. I don't know what his obsession is with work rate girls. I want to see more characters. I want to see more personalities. I want to see storytelling. But I don't think Triple H understands that. So he's gonna keep showing people like Rhea Ripley down our throats and Io Sky down our throats, even though they can't tell stories or cut promos to save their lives. But Alexa Bliss definitely carried the Raw Women's division on her back in 2017, in my opinion, before they did the brand split. Or I think it was like a mix. It was like a brand shakeup, or whatever the fuck they did in 2017. I did like the storyline with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, and like the reunition. That's not a word. I like how the show reunited in 2017. It was really good to see the show reunite and be back together again in 2017. I enjoyed it. Kurt Angle was the Roger manager, which wasn't bad. I did like Samoa Joe. I feel like the only thing Samoa Joe really needed was a character. That's it, really. But outside of that, Samoa Joe, he definitely could talk on the mic, and he wasn't that bad of a storyteller. I just felt like whenever he went into a match, he always lost, just like Bray Wyatt. Just couldn't take this guy seriously. He would talk all this shit, and then he would lose. It's like he's a loser. He doesn't win anything. So it sucks because honestly, when Samoa Joe went to SmackDown in 2018, if I believe so, he definitely should have won the WWE Championship. I was so tired of WWE pushing AJ Styles. I'm just thinking like, what's their obsession with this dude? Samoa Joe probably would have been a way more entertaining champion because he's a great heel. He's a great mic worker, and I feel like if you're going to be a heel, you need to be good on the mic. And I feel like he would have been a great heel champion if they would have put the belt on him. Try to think, is there anything else I'm forgetting on Raw? They put the Miz on Raw, which was a stupid idea. Miz should have stayed on SmackDown. But I don't think that's being anything. I think this is when they started giving Baron Corbin a little bit more screen time, which I think a lot of people hated. But me personally, I always thought Baron Corbin was funny. I mean, yeah, do we see him a little bit too much? Yes, but I definitely don't think Baron Corbin is somebody that should have been in the main event. That is really stupid and atrocious. He is definitely not somebody that should be in main event scene with guys like Roman and Seth. He shouldn't be Brock Lesnar. He should be nowhere near those type guys. He should be nowhere near them. So that's just how I feel personally. So that was Raw. Let's talk about SmackDown 2017. I think SmackDown 2017 was very dreadful. Like I said, it's crazy knowing that I watched this as a kid and I didn't see anything wrong with it. But now that I'm older, SmackDown in 2017 was so dreadful. The Randy Orton and Jinder Mahal stuff, that went on for way too long. Jinder Mahal was just not interesting WWE champion. It was forced. Shinsuke Nakamura, his push was forced. First of all, it's not even his fault. I feel like he could have had potential if they would have had given him a manager. Foreign superstars don't get over because wrestling, you need to learn how to talk. Fans will not resonate with you if you don't have mic work potential and if you can't get over with him. Yeah, the reason why he was over was because of that NXT audience. But think of a person like me who never watched NXT, who didn't watch it at that time, I only watched NXT when it was a game show. So when you erase that and you make it into like this black and gold brand of it's more of an indie territorial route, I don't know who these guys are. I need you to tell me who they are. And I feel like a part of that has been WWE's fault with Shinsuke Nakamura because they could have fixed it a long time ago by giving him a manager. And they just chose not to. He can't talk, and whenever he does try to talk, it's very comedic. I'm sorry. I'm really surprised that he still has a job here, that he has not been released because he should have been on the unemployment line a long time ago, in my opinion. A long, long time ago. I just didn't care for the main event scene in SmackDown. It was very dreadful. It was very bad to the point where they had to push Shane McMahon to make things interesting. The Shane McMahon and Kevin Owens and the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn stuff was very, very entertaining. I definitely liked it. It was entertaining. I really liked Kevin Owens at this time because he still was good. Like he had great mic work energy. He had some sense, some personality. I definitely liked Kevin Owens around this time. I did like the stuff with him and Shane McMahon. It was entertaining. They lost him when they added Sami Zayn into it. It still to this day makes no sense as in why Sami Zayn butted his nose into what him and Shane had going on, but I digress. So yeah, SmackDown wasn't the best. I mean, I think the best stuff about it was the women's division, in my opinion. I really would just tune in and wait to see what the women were doing because the storylines for the women just seemed more interesting on SmackDown. Naomi as women's champion wasn't the most interesting. I feel like they didn't know what to do with her title after she won it. They didn't know what to do with Naomi. Lana came on the roster. They didn't know what to do with Lana. They didn't know what to do with half these people, but I did enjoy it. You know, the segments were entertaining and all of it. They put Charlotte on SmackDown, which is like, yes, because I'm tired. I was tired of Charlotte anyway, but it was nice to see her less. I feel like I saw her less on SmackDown compared to Raw, where I feel like I saw her a lot more on Raw because Raw was 3 hours. I saw Charlotte way too much when compared to SmackDown. It's a 2-hour show, so you would probably see Charlotte less. And I think the less of Charlotte, the better. So yeah, so 2017, it wasn't a good year. It wasn't the best year, but to me, it definitely beats 2018 and 2019, the 2 years that I am dreading to talk about. 2018. God, this year is just so bad. Like, so bad. WrestleMania sucked this year. Like, a lot of the PLEs I don't remember. Like, I don't really remember a lot of the pay-per-views. Oh my god, this year is so bad, especially for Raw. Like Raw was really bad in 2018. I definitely think SmackDown was better. You know, SmackDown had heel Randy Orton. You know, he was really showing up and showing out. SmackDown had the Samoa Joe and AJ Styles feud. Samoa Joe and Jeff Hardy had their feud. I don't really remember. The women's division was really terrible. I would say the women's division on Raw and SmackDown were awful. Because on SmackDown, they were trying to shove Becky Lynch down our throats with, I'm the man, the man, the man, the man. They were trying to shove that down our throats, and I don't care about Becky Lynch. I never cared, never will, never have. I didn't care about her and Charlotte feuding for the 10th millionth time. I didn't care about that shit. You can never, nothing you could ever do to make me care about it. I didn't care about Carmella's terrible title reign and her going over with someone like Asuka. That's a joke. When you have someone like Carmella beat Asuka, that's a joke. I can't take Asuka seriously as this empress. I can't take her seriously. Sorry, babe, not gonna happen. Nope, 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 not gonna happen. Can't take Asuka seriously. I just think SmackDown was better. I think SmackDown just had more stuff going on when compared to Raw. I couldn't even tell you 5 things that happened in Raw 2018. Roman Reigns, his booking was all over the place. It was atrocious, if you ask me. His booking was atrocious. He feuded with guys like Jinder Mahal and who else did he feud with? I know he feuded with Jinder Mahal and I think Baron Corbin. He won the Universal Championship from Brock Lesnar and he feuded with Braun Strowman for the 10th millionth time. The Shield reunited for absolutely no reason this year. And then Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, and Braun Strowman all teamed up against the Shield. It was just cringy and stupid. I didn't get it. And, like, I almost forget that Drew McIntyre came back around this time because he really didn't do a lot. Like, I don't really remember much of what Drew McIntyre did, really, until, like, he won the Royal Rumble. And, like, yeah, like, that was, like, that, too, that was confusing. Like, he was a heel the whole time, and then all of a sudden he's a babyface. But we'll get to that when we get to it. I thought Drew McIntyre was funny as a heel, but I feel like he really didn't do much for me. I feel like I didn't really see him do much. I mean, he was a bodyguard for Shane McMahon and everything like that, which we'll get in 2019. But yeah, I can't keep talking about 2018. 2018 is just a really dreadful year. You know, the Zeph and Dean stuff. I got tired of that too. I got tired of that. You know, Roman Reigns had to step away because of personal stuff, which I'm not. That's all good and dandy. He came back. He's healthy now. Yes, that's all I can say. But even when he came back, he feuded with people like Drew McIntyre, and the feud just wasn't interesting. Not something that's worth WrestleMania worthy, in my opinion. I got tired of seeing Zeph and Dean feud. Dean, his entire heel thing was stupid. I didn't understand it. Raw just sucked in 2018. It's almost embarrassing to say that I actually watched that show in 2018 because I don't know how the hell I made it through it because the show was just very bad. I definitely think SmackDown was better, and if you ask me, I feel like SmackDown deserved a 3-hour show probably back then compared to now. But we're moving on to 2018. I'm trying to get through these years as fast as possible because these are the dreadful years. We move on to 2019. You would think WWE would learn from a dreadful year like 2018. They would make things better in 2019. But you ask me, I feel like things get even worse in 2019. Seth Rollins, who was my fave at the time, he won the Royal Rumble, and him and Brock Lesnar had this feud. It was okay. It wasn't the best thing. He wins the West Championship. He has a god-awful reign. Very, very awful. Becky Lynch, she has a terrible main event WrestleMania match. She wins the titles. She has a god-awful reign. To the point where WWE decided to put them on screen together, him and Becky Lynch. Seth and Becky, they had no chemistry, which was weird because it's like, wait, they're dating? It's like they have, like, no chemistry. It was awkward. It was cringe. I didn't understand it. To the point that Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans were carrying the feud into Extreme Rules. that Extreme Rules match was only interesting because of Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans. They were killing them on the mic. Lacey Evans had so much potential, and all it took was for a for Becky Lynch to ruin all of that. It's not a coincidence that as soon as she lost to Becky Lynch, that she lost everything. After that, I don't think Lacey Evans was ever the same again. She wasn't the same anymore. She just wasn't the same. She lost everything when she lost to Becky Lynch. And to me, I just feel like if you weren't going to have Becky drop it right away, why put somebody who, at that time, I don't think Lacey Evans was young. I think she's like in her 30s now. So she couldn't have been not young, but like new and upcoming. Why would you put her in a position like that so early just to be buried? Like, it's stupid. Lacey Evans had so much aura, so much personality. She wasn't that bad in the ring like people were trying to say that she was. And right after she lost to Becky Lynch, she was nerfed. She was nerfed. She was never, ever the same again. And it sucked, because I feel like she had so much potential. Becky Lynch was having mediocre matches after mediocre matches, mediocre segments after mediocre segments, to the point where Sasha Banks came back, and that was the most interesting that her title reign ever got. And honestly, she should have lost the belt to Sasha Banks. As much as I don't like Sasha Banks, and I think she's overrated too, she definitely should have lost the belt to Sasha. She should have definitely lost the belt to Sasha Banks, in my opinion. Raw in 2019 was just really god awful. I didn't care for the Fiend thing. Raw was just so bad. Raw was just so bad. It sucked. It absolutely sucked. I just feel like it was awful. And I couldn't even tell you what happened on SmackDown around this year. Like, I know Shane McMahon was doing his whole best in the world thing. I know that. No, Kofi Kingston was champion. Oh my god. Raw and SmackDown sucked this year. I totally forgot that Kofi Kingston was champion. He had a god awful reign. His reign went on for way too long. The only good parts of his reign was when they had him feud with Randy Orton. That's it. Those are like the only two good matches in his reign, with him and Randy Orton. The best thing in his title reign was with Randy Orton. Randy Orton carried that entire feud on his back. Other than that, Kofi Kingston was a god awful champion. He didn't do anything, and to me, he definitely deserved to lose in like 12 seconds to Brock Lesnar. This guy is a jobber. He's a joke. Why should Brock Lesnar take him seriously? In my opinion, sorry to say it, he's a joke. But why Brock Lesnar should not take a guy like him seriously? You should just squash him. Squash him like a bug. In my opinion. So everything sucked. To me, I was like, Zeph stuck with the champion. They ruined him to the fact that he turned heel. It was so bad that he had to turn heel and correct the Monday Night Messiah, which that was pretty good, cool. I actually like the Monday Night Messiah, even though it was a low rent version of Straight Edge Society. But we all know the Straight Edge Society is 10 times better than Monday Night Messiah. And if you want to sit here and tell me that the Monday Night Messiah is better than Straight Edge Society, you're smoking crack. And if you're smoking it, let me get some. The Straight Edge Society was way more interesting. CM Punk is just a better mic worker, I think, in my opinion. I think, not only that, I think CM Punk is a better mic worker, and I think CM Punk is a better actor than Seth Rollins. I think Seth Rollins, sometimes when he's serious, he has a way of making things goofy. The only time that ever worked was when he was with The Authority. That weasel being annoying, that worked when he was with The Authority because he was this person who was so young, getting pushed. He was on top of the world, so it made sense for him to be a coward. But when he was a Monday Night Messiah, there were times where like it got a little bit goofy, and it's like, how can I take this guy seriously? I still like the Monday Night Messiah, but the Shred Society will forever be better, in my opinion. But this year is just, I would say like 2017 is the only good year. 2018, 2019, just god awful years, just awful. I don't know how the hell I watched it. I don't know how the hell I made it through watching these Raws. Like I said, I was in high school. I was young. I just wanted to watch wrestling. Like I said, as soon as I come home from school on Monday nights, I just wanted to watch wrestling. That's all I want to do. On Friday nights, I just wanted to watch wrestling. It's the last day of the week. The weekend's going to start. I get to watch wrestling. That's all I want to do. Because when you're, especially when you're in high school, imagine it. High school is like work. You get up on Monday, you go to work. You get up on Tuesday, you go to work. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, work, work, work. School, school, school. School is basically like work. You don't get no time off, or you don't get time to relax or rest your brain into a fucking weekend, or if you want a break when it comes to school wise. But unfortunately, I don't work Mondays. I hate working Mondays. I would much rather work Tuesday through Fridays, in my opinion, and have the weekends and Mondays off. But I am enjoying talking about this year. It is fun to get my opinions out and talk about what I remembered, which is crazy. I think I'm doing good so far. I don't think I am forgetting anything. Like I said, I'm not here to break down every nick and cranny of these years. Just talk about what I remember. And as for the women's division, which I have not got into yet, for 2018, I thought the women's division was terrible. On SmackDown, it was terrible. On Raw, it was awful because they decided to push Ronda Rousey down our throats, and I didn't care for that. I thought Ronda Rousey had no personality. She couldn't talk on the mic. I don't know. I liked Alexa Bliss a lot more. I understand they had to find someone outside of Alexa Bliss. She was just such the better mic worker at that time. Alexa Bliss was just the best mic worker, the best personality around that time, and they did all that just to force a Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte feud main event down our ropes that I don't think anyone cared about. I just got so tired of seeing the four horsewomen that I didn't care to see them in the main event. Like, for real. I didn't really care about Ronda Rousey either to see her in the main event, so I really didn't care. In my opinion, didn't care. And in 2019, I couldn't tell you a single thing I remember for the SmackDown division. I don't even know who was the champion on SmackDown, the women's champion. Couldn't tell you. I don't even remember the Raw Women's Championship, and that's because they were forcing the Becky Lynch shit down our throat, so I remember it very vividly. But to me, 2018, 2019, very trash years, very god-awful years, and if I was smarter, I wouldn't have watched these years. I definitely would have taken a step back from wrestling if it was up to me. I do think 2020, on some extent, was a way better year. I don't think it was in the beginning. I would say like towards the middle of 2020 it was. But, actually that's not true. It was in the beginning. It wasn't bad in the beginning. It got a little bad when COVID started. But, we'll get to it. That's my thoughts on years of 2017, 18, 19. And next will be on years 2020, 2021, and 2022. And you know what? I think what I'm gonna do is probably wait until 2025 is over to give my thoughts on 2024. So you guys probably won't get a 2024 review until 2025 is officially over. Because I feel like it makes no sense to review 2024 if 2025 hasn't been done yet. It just makes sense to review those years back to back, in my opinion. So I think I'm going to review years 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. Which, to me, I feel like all those years seem to blend together at one point. I don't keep a book with y'all. I remember hardly anything from those years. Those are years, too, where it was just like, I don't remember much. I'm going to tell y'all right now what I remember, and I'll still make my video about it, but I'll tell you right now what I remember from 2020. Edge returned. I loved his stuff with Randy Orton. I loved the Viper. I loved the Legend Killer of Randy Orton. He was delivering some great promos. I hated the Fiend stuff, but I liked the stuff he did with Alexa Bliss. I loved the stuff he did with Alexa Bliss. Honestly, it just felt like it was a Alexa Bliss and Randy Orton feud. It was entertaining. I liked it. I don't care what anyone says. I enjoyed it. I didn't care for Drew McIntyre's title reign. It was boring. Drew McIntyre, he just doesn't work as a babyface in my opinion. So it just didn't land for me. I hated that they didn't give it up to Randy Orton at SummerSlam. It was dumb. I love the stuff with Roman Reigns on SmackDown. He carried SmackDown on his back in 2020. Actually, for the last 3 years, he carried SmackDown for 2020, 2021, and 2022. So I just said it right now. The whole Bloodline story, I love that in general. In general, I love the Bloodline story. Period. I love that in general. Just saying. I love that in general, the Bloodline story. Um, the women's division, I stopped caring a long time ago about the women's division. Um, I like where they are. I like RKO Bro. That was pretty entertaining. Um, like I said, these years seem to run together at one point. I will elaborate a little bit more in my next video because I know there's some things I'm probably forgetting. It's like you watch the shit, but it's like at some point it's like all this shit seems to blend together. So that's how I feel. That all this shit seems to blend together at one point. So um, I will see you guys next time in the next video. That is it for today.